In the beginning of the story, we are introduced to the world-famous Dr. Kanji. After the death of his younger sister, due to an illness for which there was no treatment at the time, he decides to become a doctor and dedicate his entire life to developing a medicine that can cure every disease. Years of study later, Kanji becomes a renowned doctor who, true to his promise, starts working on a medicine that can combat all illnesses. He often forgets to eat and drink while working overtime, which leads to a significant decline in his physical health. One day, while he is engrossed in his work, he thinks to himself that he should take a short break. He sets an alarm for 40 minutes and falls asleep on his sofa. However, even after 40 minutes, he doesn't wake up, indicating that something has gone terribly wrong. The next day, when he finally opens his eyes, he finds himself in a completely different place, where a girl stands beside him, looking very happy and calling him Farma. Confused, Kanji gets out of bed to see the outside world and realizes that his body has become very weak. At that moment, his nurse starts shouting at him, telling him that he needs to rest because he was struck by lightning and has been in a coma for several days. Upon hearing this, he apologizes and admits that he doesn't remember anything. The nurse then shows him a mirror, and he is shocked to see his reflection. He finds himself in the body of a 10-year-old boy named Farma. Here, Farma thinks to himself that he doesn't remember anything about his current life, but he knows about his previous life. He fell asleep last time, and when he opened his eyes, he found himself here. This confuses him greatly. Just then, he feels a bit of pain and asks his nurse if he can remove his bandages. The nurse immediately goes to get some warm water for him. As she removes the bandages, Farma notices a mark on his hand, which frightens the nurse. He reassures her, saying it might be due to the lightning. However, the nurse starts praying and tells him that this mark is evidence that he has been blessed by the god of medicine. Hearing the name of the god of medicine astonishes him, and he asks her who that is. The nurse responds that he must have forgotten about the god of medicine, whom his family worships. Farma realizes that he knows nothing about this life. He asks the nurse if she can tell him everything, because he is a bit confused. The nurse introduces herself first, saying her name is Laut. Then, as she shows him around the palace, she explains that his family is a royal pharmacist who prepares medicine for the royal family. She also shows him a family photo and mentions that his family is very skilled in magic. Hearing this, Farma asks if he can also use magic. Laut, looking worried, responds that he shouldn't say that he has forgotten magic, because if that's the case, he would be cast out of town. Farma admits that he doesn't remember it. Hearing this, she becomes frightened at first. Then she tells him that he must not reveal this to anyone else, and she informs him that he was very skilled in water magic, so he should start practicing it right away. We see Farma sitting in his room, practicing water magic. He imagines water molecules in his mind, and soon water starts flowing from his hands, which astonishes him. However, he can't stop it, and panicking, he throws all the water out. Outside, Laut sees this and realizes that Farma can use magic, which makes her very happy. Farma doesn't stop there. He tries to manipulate more molecules and successfully does so, raising them with his other hand. Just then, Laut comes to him and takes him to show his library. She tells him that all the books there are ones he has already read. He picks up one book and is surprised to find that he can read it comfortably. Later, Farma goes to dinner with his family. Seeing him well, his father says he is very glad that Farma has recovered, but they had made a promise that he would ask him some questions, and now is the time for that. His mother interjects, saying he should wait a bit since Farma just got better. Farma reassures them that he will explain everything. His father begins to ask him questions, which Farma answers confidently. Then his father tells him that now that he is fully recovered, he can resume his training. Hearing about training confuses him, and he wonders what kind of training it is, but he agrees. The next day, Farma meets his personal tutor, Aaron, who teaches him magic. As soon as Aaron sees him, she starts to suspect him because Farma used to behave poorly, but now he seems much kinder. Farma explains that his memory has been frozen due to the lightning strike, which is why he doesn't remember much. Hearing this, Aaron calms down and asks him about divine art, but Farma has no idea what it is. Aaron starts explaining everything to him. Afterward, she takes him to train by a river and tells him to take out his magical stick, but he has no idea what she means. He tells her he hasn't brought one. Eren then gives him her magical stick, but first demonstrates how to use it so he can learn by watching. After watching the demo, Farma tries it out and performs a very powerful spell, which shocks Eren. She starts checking him and gives him a tool to measure his magic. As soon as Farma starts channeling his magic into the measuring tool, it breaks, causing Eren to panic even more. She becomes terrified because such powerful magic could only belong to a god or a demon. We then see a scene a little later where Eren and Farma are sitting on a bench, and Eren is still in shock. To calm her down, Farma tries to make Eren laugh, and she starts chuckling. During this moment, he discovers one of his abilities called Divine Eye, which allows him to sense any person's injuries. He begins to scan Eren and finds out that there's an issue with her eyes and fingers. He directly goes to her and grabs her fingers, asking if she has trouble with them. Eren, surprised, asks how he knew. Farma explains that when he moved his hands, he saw her finger glowing. Hearing this, she becomes very alarmed and says that such a power cannot belong to a normal person. She asks, "Who are you?" and runs away in fear. The next day, we learn that Eren is very ill and won't be able to train Farma. His father gives him some medicine and asks him to take it to Eren. Farma takes the medicine and arrives at Eren's house. When he checks the medicine, he realizes that it's not very effective. Using his magic, he makes some adjustments to it, ensuring it will work more effectively. Just then, we see Eren, fully covered for protection, who confronts Farma and asks if he has come to harm her. Farma reassures her that he hasn't come to hurt her. She then removes her mask, revealing that her condition is quite severe. She asks what he is there for. Farma explains that she is sick and that his father sent medicine for her, adding that he has made some enhancements to it. Upon hearing this, Eren becomes frightened and accuses him of adding poison to the medicine to harm her. Farma insists that there's nothing like that and urges her to take it, assuring her that it won't harm her. However, Eren doesn't trust him. Farma tries to explain, saying that she is his teacher and he wouldn't want to hurt her. There's no need for her to be scared of him. With that, he leaves her some flowers and walks away. Her words have an effect on Eren, and she becomes ready to train him again. The next day, we see Farma arriving at the training ground, where Eren is also present. She is still wearing her armor and tells him that, while she trusts him, his magic is very powerful and could potentially harm her, which is why she is wearing the armor. She thanks him for the medicine he provided, as it has worked for her. They start training, and Eren is amazed by Farma's incredible magic skills. After the training ends, Farma is sitting at home, using his divine eye to check on the injuries of his servants. Just then, Laut passes by, and he scans her as well. He discovers that she has significant problems with her hands. He decides to create medicine for all the servants that he goes to his lab and starts using his magic to concoct the medicine. After some hard work, he successfully makes it and then goes to Laut, giving her the medicine. Upon receiving it, Laut becomes very emotional and thanks him with joy. Farma then distributes the medicine to the other servants, who are very pleased with it. At this point, Laut says to Farma, "These people are so lucky to be getting medicines from a royal pharmacist, but there are also people in the world who can't even get medicines and die from hunger and helplessness." These words hit Farma deeply, and he decides right then and there to create a world where no one dies due to a lack of medicines. The next day, when Farma sits down for a meal with his family, he notices that his sister is missing from the dining table. He asks his father where his little sister is, and his father replies that she has been quarantined because she has contracted chickenpox, which is highly contagious. Hearing the name of the disease, Farma begins to think that chickenpox is treatable, and he has the cure. So, he decides to make a medicine for his sister using the knowledge from his past memories. He mixes the medicine into her food and sneaks it into her room. When his sister sees him, she says, "Father said no one is allowed to come near me. So what are you doing here?" Farma replies, "This is a secret and you won't tell anyone about it." And then he feeds her the medicine. A few weeks later, we see that his sister has recovered, thanks to the medicine. Then Farma goes to his lab and creates a mini microscope because he can't always rely on using his divine eye by pressing his finger. At that moment, someone comes to his lab and informs him that his father. Because today, the Queen is going to give them respect. Guys, with this, today's video comes to an end. If you liked the video, please like it and leave a comment for the next part. So, goodbye guys and take care.